है।
સરસ મોડ સરસ મોડ
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome, please. Please make Professor Ved Prakash sir as co-host. Yeah, good evening and welcome, sir, please.
Good evening. Yeah.
So, let me give you, sir. So, good evening, one and all, and I welcome on behalf of UGC Malve Mission Teacher Training Center, a center of Ministry of Education and University Grants Commission, in the flagship program named Malve Mission Teacher Training Program. I welcome each one of you in this 8 days program where we'll be having 2 sessions in each of these 8 days. And the GAD-MMTTC is situated at Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, my own premier institution, which is a constituent college of University of Delhi. So I welcome you on behalf of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College as well as University of Delhi. At this center, we are seeking blessings from Guru Angad Dev Ji, the second of the 10 Sikh Gurus. So, remembering him again on this initiation of this very next batch, and also remembering Bharat Ratna Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Ji, in whose name we have this entire scheme has been kept at the central level. So, I welcome each one of you with a virtual bouquet of flowers, and especially we have esteemed speaker today. We have Professor Ved Prakash sir, and then the next session we'll be having from Professor A.K. Bakshi sir. So, welcome Professor Ved Prakash sir. I welcome each one of you who are participating in this particular batch, who consist of administrators, teachers, research scholars, and all others from all over our lovely country, India. I also pay my gratitude to the entire core team at GAD-MMTTC, starting from Padma Bhushan Siddharth Lochin Singh sir, who is the chairman governing body at SCTP Khalsa College. We have Professor Ved Prakash sir, former chairman UGC, who is starting today's first session as well. Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, founder VC PDM University Bahadurgarh. Professor Jaswinder Singh sir, Vice Chancellor Eternal University, and also former principal SCTP Khalsa College. We also have now the leadership of Mohinder Singh as principal of SGTB Khalsa College. And I am your main host, Vimal Rag. And I also extend greetings and thanks to my entire team of moderators and coordinators with me. I can see Professor Anuja, especially Professor Sarita Pasi. I will start. She is the main help to me in organizing these programs. So Professor Sarita Pasi, Professor Anuja, Professor Susan, and many others who will be helping us in this very particular batch. I'll request all of you to please put your hands together. Let us take this blessings of the God to start this very particular batch. So in this NEP orientation and sensitization program, I'll give you more information because right now I am on way. So we'll request Professor Ved Prakash sir to start his session. But before he does so, a very brief introduction about him. Professor Ved Prakash sir is DLIT and PhD, MSc, MEd, US Fulbright Fellow, Michigan University, CCEPAP, HIIT, Harvard University. He has professional experience of more than 48 years in policy making, teaching, research, and administration. Professor Ved Prakash, sir, a distinguished name in Indian academia, has the unique distinction of spearheading the University Grants Commission, the apex regulator of higher education in India, as, as its chairman, vice chairman, and secretary, the all three top position for more than 15 years. Under his stewardship, the UGC made significant strides in the areas of curricular reforms, internationalization, basic scientific research, skill education, and gender and social equity in higher education, to name a few. He has to his credit the transformation of NIPA into a university, where he also served as its founder vice chancellor. In his stellar career of more than 48 years, he made seminal contribution as advisor education in the Planning Commission of India, chairman National Council for Teacher Education, professor and head DEME NCRT, joint director Staff Selection Commission, Government of India, a US Fulbright fellow, a US Fulbright scholar. Professor Ved Prakash sir has been a visiting faculty at University of Windsor, Canada, a guest faculty HIID Harvard University, and consultant to the World Bank. He has to his distinction of being an interlocutor under prestigious US International Visitor Leadership Program. He has the honor of serving as a member of the jury for a notable for a notable UNESCO APID Venue Award for Educational Innovation for 10 long years. And he has represented our country at more than 30 foreign countries in the bilateral and multilateral forums. He has published extensively and he has been conferred with various coveted awards. So it is my privilege and honor, sir, to welcome you and take this very first session where we'll be looking at higher education and society and the entirely with the focus of NEP. And uh, I'm sure that you'll also be covering the global perspective in higher education. So over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Vimal, and very good evening to all the participants of this faculty development program. What I propose to do is that I would be talking to you about the role of the society in the development of education across the globe in brief. And then I will let you know in which direction the higher education is going globally. And I will also let you know where do we stand so that you can take some insights and you can draw some lessons in which direction we need to go. We need to take our higher education. We all know that the society has played a very significant role in education from early times to date. And most of the leading institutions of the world are the creation of the society. Globally, the society is known to have contributed in a variety of ways. It could be in the form of donations from philanthropists, alumni from the foundations, maybe in the form of scholarships, research grants, infrastructure, and establishing chairs, etc. I am not going to give you a conducted tour of the National Education Policy 2020 because the policy is in the public domain for the last almost 4 years, over 4 years rather. It was released in July 2020. And I hope that you must have gone through it and you must be quite familiar with the structural changes and the programmatic changes which are proposed in the national education policy. Some of the institutions have already started translating the intents of the national education policy into action. There are certain recommendations which are in the domain of the sovereign body. They have to create some kind of legislative framework for the purposes of translating the intents of the national education policy. In general, I would like to tell you that for the first time, I mean, insofar as education is concerned, the world leaders had assembled in the city of Geneva after World War I in 1924. And they came up with a resolution which I would like to share with you. It's a very simple resolution with 3 assertions in which they said, and I quote, that children must be provided the tools for their natural development. Those who are backward must be supported by the nation states, and that the children must be placed in a position where from they can make a decent living. Unquote. These were the commitments actually shown by the world leaders in 1924. Not much had happened, and because the world was again pushed into the Second War in 1939, which continued until 1945. And once again, after the end of the World War II, in 1945, the world leaders had again assembled in the city of Paris in 1948, and they came up with that Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You must be aware of that. This was a very historic moment, and of several resolutions which were passed in that convention. One of the resolutions, which is known as Article 26, it has got 3 parts. I would like to draw your attention to part 1, because part 2 and part 3, they are related to the guardians and the sovereign bodies. In part 1, there are 5 assertions, and I would like to quote all those 5 assertions so that you can know the concern which was expressed by the world leaders in 1948. They said that everyone has the right to education, and that education shall be free, at least in the elementary or the fundamental stages of school education. And that elementary education shall be made compulsory, and that professional and technical education shall be made generally available, and that higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. So unlike professional education, unquote, if you read all those 5 assertions, you will find that unlike the elementary education or the professional and technical education, they laid emphasis on merit insofar as higher education is concerned. Now, if you carry out a dispassionate analysis of the global higher education system, you would find that the developed economies, you can see a common pattern in the developed economies. Their education system seem to have evolved around those 5 stipulations of Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All of them, all those countries, they have universalized their school education. They have created outstanding system for technical and professional education. And when it comes to higher education, they have ensured that merit takes the precedence over everything else. But if we carry out the analysis of our own system, we find that we have still been struggling with the universalization of elementary education, let alone 12-year school education. Every class in our country happens to be a terminal class because the children get pushed out of the system. Not that they want to leave the system, but because the system does not provide them sufficient support and hand-holding. And when we see the quality of professional and technical education, we find that we have not been able to provide professional and technical education to the eligible student population. And the last inference which I would like to draw is that our higher education hardly comes into the reckoning at the global level. be it relating to teaching and learning, be it relating to research and development, or be it relating to innovations and extension and engagement. UNESCO, I mean, of all the UN wings, actually, I am of the opinion that UNESCO seem to have done a better job in comparison to the other bodies. UNESCO has been championing the right to education at all levels, including higher education. And UNESCO believes that the tuition-free public higher education is an important step in this direction. Free access to quality higher education for all appears imminent for realizing the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 by 2030. And UNESCO argues actually very forcefully that the removal of tuition fees in higher education increases both the social demand and also the level of educational attainments. And why does it say so? Because if you are not providing education free of charge or at an affordable cost, large number of talented children, they get left out. They are left out. And as a result of which the nation states, they lose out the talented workforce in a large number. UNESCO has conducted a survey of 146 member states. And they have found out that there are about 41 countries which have already mandated free higher education by law. And 41 out of 146 amounts to almost 30%. There are countries which are low income and lower middle income countries because we are not a developed nation and we consider ourselves that we are a poor country. Though we are far more resourceful today than what we were when we got independence in 1947. But in UNESCO surveys tells us that 20% of the low income and lower middle income countries have mandated free higher education. And it is the low income and lower middle income countries actually that need special global attention to provide access to quality education. I believe that the removal of tuition fees in higher education could prove to be more effective in developing economies like that of ours. And for about 5 long decades, we have had a policy of providing higher education either through public institutions or through grant-in-aid institutions. And these institutions were not motivated to make profit. And thus we were, with the support of the government, we were providing higher education at an affordable cost. Currently, only the central higher educational institutions are providing free higher education, and that too only to a select group of students like this scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the other backward classes. There are some states in our country which provide free higher education up to the postgraduate level for girls and socially deprived sections of their domicile. The situation in our country had changed drastically after the liberalization and globalization, I mean, since 1990. And what we are witnessing that this has led to slow but steady withdrawal of the state from financing higher education. And I mean, which is why even the centrally funded higher educational institutions are finding it extremely difficult to provide quality education at an affordable cost. Recently, there was a news that one of the leading central institutions of higher education is going to dispose of 2 of its important buildings right here in the city of Delhi. Nothing can be more precarious than this. And you would have also seen that the centrally funded higher educational institutions have started offering the some programs in the name of self-financing courses. because they are not getting sufficient resources from the government. The cost recovery now has become a norm, then an exception, because of the steady withdrawal of the state support. So this is the one take which we can have. When we look at the other aspect of higher education, that is the growth of higher education. The global data report shows that the past 2 decades has shown a significant growth in terms of enrollment, although, I mean, millions around the world are still not having access to higher education. Enrollment has increased in all groupings, but at different rates. The total enrollment in higher education at the global level is 235 million, which is about, I mean, you can say 24 crore children are enrolled in higher education worldwide. And if you see that the gross enrollment ratio in higher education globally has increased from 19% to 40% in the last 2 decades, which is a very steep jump actually. There are about 88,000 higher educational institutions in the world, and of them, I mean, we have the largest number of higher educational institutions. The number of the higher educational institutions in our country is as high as 56,000, which includes all kinds of universities, central universities, state universities, state private universities, institutions deemed to be universities, and institutions of national importance, and the colleges which are offering both undergraduate and postgraduate programs. So we are on the top in terms of the number of higher educational institutions. The second comes the United States of America with about 4,000 higher educational institutions. Then comes China with a little over 3,000 higher educational institutions. But the size of their institutions is much larger than the size of our institutions, because in our country, if you look at the colleges, we have colleges with the intake total, I mean, number of students with 400, somewhere 500. And we also have similarly the universities which are very small in size in terms of number of faculty and in terms of students. If you look at the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, I mean, in the national education policy, we have said that we are going to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education within the by 50% by 2035, which means that every second person in the age group of 18 to 23 or 18 to 24 will be in higher education. We have taken about, 77 long years to reach at the level of 28% of the gross enrollment ratio, which is much lower than the global average of 40%. And in the next, 10, 12 years, we want to increase it to 50%, which to me seems to be unlikely. But we can do it provided we utilize, number one, the residual capacity of existing institutions, number one. Number two, provided we set up newer institutions in areas where the institutional density is much lesser than the national average. I mean, we have pockets like in the state of West Bengal, in Jharkhand, in Chhattisgarh, in Bihar, in some part of UP, where the institutional density is much lesser. And therefore, we need to set up some newer institutions. That could be one approach. The another approach could be that wherever we have lesser number of students, either in colleges or in universities, we exploit the residual capacity of those institutions. And the third thing could be that we could profitably use the different modes of delivery. I mean, including the conventional mode of delivery, the open and distance learning mode of delivery, and now we have the online mode of delivery. So we can then achieve the gross enrollment ratio as we have expressed our intent in the new National Education Policy 2020. I will reflect on the another aspect, the gender equality in higher education. Globally, access to higher education has increased at a faster pace among women than men in the last 2 decades. And this is the trend which could also be seen in some of the states in our country. For instance, if you see the state of Tamil Nadu, state of Punjab, wherein the women participation is higher than that of men. In Punjab, that difference is 5 percentage point. The gross enrollment ratio of higher education in Punjab of women is 30% as against 25% of men. So, but when it comes to the participation of women in STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, we find that their participation rate is much lesser globally. That is a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, there is a difference of 18 percentage point insofar as the participation of women in STEM disciplines is concerned. So this is a global phenomenon, and this needs to be addressed by way of directing a more number of girls at the higher secondary level to exact sciences, increasing the transition rate of girls at the secondary level so that we can have larger number of girls opting for science, basic, I mean, STEM disciplines at the post-secondary stage. In our country, I mean, it varies from state to state. There are states like Tamil Nadu, wherein the gross enrollment ratio of women is as high as 47%. But we again have a state like Bihar, where we have the gross enrollment ratio of women only 16%. So we will have to have appropriate measures keeping in view the contextual situation insofar as the gender participation is, girls' participation in higher education is concerned. If you look at the participation of the physically challenged children, then the situation in our country is worse than the situation in leading countries. It is presumed that about 1.3 billion children in the age group of 18 to 23 are physically disabled. But when we see their participation rates in higher education, we find that it is half of the percentage of those without disabilities. If the participation rates of the disabled children is 20%, their counterparts participation rate is 40%. But when we see the number of bachelor's degree holder in places like US and UK, we find that about 18% to 20% students, physically disabled students are the bachelor's degree holder in US and UK. Whereas when we see it in our country, we find that only 6% disabled boys and 3% disabled girl are the bachelor's degree holder in our country. And this is primarily because of the prejudices that we have. It is primarily because of the lack of facilities which need to be created. It is because of the lack of the instrumentations that we have in our labs. You go to the Western world and you would find that depending upon the disability of the individual student, they manage the equipments which can facilitate the functioning of the physically challenged children in the laboratories. So we need to do a lot insofar as the participation rates of physically challenged children in higher education is concerned. There is another major concern in higher education, actually, globally, because of the fourth industrial revolution impelled by the rapid advances in artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and other emerging technologies like virtual reality, wearable technology, digital platform. It has created skill gaps across all the industries. And as technology advances, education system in the leading countries are metamorphosing, anticipating, and preparing for the impact of digital revolution on the workforce. And for this reason, leading countries have been reimagining their curricular provisions and degree programs to meet the needs of the modern learners. This has brought out the competency-based education, outcome-based education into focus, benchmarking, subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes. Earlier, the students, when we were studying, we continue to graduate and we will get employment, and then we will continue in services without acquiring newer skills. I can tell you my own personal experience when I was working for the NCRT in 80s. I got the first, my department got one computer, and there was no taker of that computer, actually. Nobody wanted to take it. It was thrusted upon me, and I sat before that computer for about 2 days, and then I also went personally to the head of the department and requested him to hand it over to somebody else. I was because we were very averse to pick up the newer skills at that point in time. And all of us, people of my generation, we were invaded by the technological advancements. A large number of my fellow colleagues, they retired, without knowing how to send an electronic mail, how to key in the text. That has been the situation. But now things have changed. The definition of literacy has changed. Lately, what is happening, we are realizing that skill gaps are widening at an alarming rate, forcing people to go back to the universities to reskill and upskill themselves, actually. And for that, what is happening is that the number of non-traditional students, I'm referring to the non-traditional students, to those who are not in the age cohort of 18 to 23 or 18 to 24. They are the people who have passed out and entered into the world of work, but they find themselves inadequate. They are not able to ensure their relevance on the job which they are performing, and therefore they want to come back. Such students in the Western world are called non-traditional students, and the leading universities are coming up with tailor-made programs for such kinds of students, for helping them to reskill and upskill. This is one of the biggest challenges. And unfortunately, skilling as it is has not been a very success story in our country. Though, we have seen ourselves when the universities were not responding to the IT-related programs, organizations like NIIT and AppTech, they came up with the 3-month certificate program, 6-month certificate program, 9-month diploma program, and they armed the young boys and girls with different kinds of skills, and as a result of which they could stand on their own feet and they could make a decent living. So this is a challenge in the sector of higher education. Skilling can be at different levels. It can be at a lower level, at a middle level, or at a higher level. When you start coding, decoding, and when you start developing programs, that could be of a higher order. But in order to performing the regular or the routine work, it could be at the middle level. When you are able to record your video lecture, when you are able to make your PowerPoint presentation, when you can use the graphics and the bar diagrams and the pie chart or the histograms, all those kinds of things. So that is what is lacking. We have talked about it in the National Education Policy 2020. And in fact, we have said that we are going to lay greater focus on skilling, and that at least 50% students, both in school and higher education, would be given the exposure of some kind of skilling programs. I'll come to another important aspect of higher education, that is about interdisciplinary teaching and learning. Interdisciplinary approach of teaching and learning has gained a lot of momentum. I mean, for quite some time in the Western world, but also in this part of the world in the recent times. And because this approach offers significant benefits, besides preparing students for complex real-world problems, somehow we have not been able to institutionalize it. Though there are challenges in the implementation, but it is considered a worthwhile endeavor. And it requires dismantling of boundaries across the disciplines. There was a time in late 18th century or early 19th century when we had embraced the Humboldtian model, when we had created the structures of disciplines in the name of physics and chemistry and geology and botany and history and geography. Now the time has come that the people realize that we need to dissolve the boundaries between the disciplines, because the new knowledge lies at the intersections of different disciplines. It is also evident from the fact that if you see the Nobel laureates of the past 2 decades, you will find that most of them are those who have defied the boundaries of a specific discipline. And the another thing is that there are complex real world problems which cannot be addressed on the strength of a particular domain of knowledge. It requires integration of different disciplines, actually. For instance, if your city is drowned in water with a heavy downpour, I mean, it cannot be solved only on the strength of the engineering and technology. There is an economics involved in it, there is a geography involved in it, there is a psychology involved in it, there is also the social science involved in it. So we need the integration of different domains of knowledge for addressing issues like climate change, transport management, conservation of water, protection of environment, community health. These are real world complex issues which can be addressed only if we go in for interdisciplinary teaching and learning. I'll give you an example. When we were studying, when I was studying, I was taught the periodic table, but my teacher had never ever related it with the life sciences. He had never ever related it with the quantum physics. He had not related it with mathematics. He had not told us that there is also a geography involved in it. Similarly, when we were taught photosynthesis, we were taught that it is a biological process and that it was not a chemical process and that there is no physics involved in it. We were not told that how the electrons get activated with the fall of the sun rays on the chloroplast. So the point that I'm trying to make today here is that we need to switch over to interdisciplinary teaching and learning, and for which we require integrated curriculum. We require project-based teaching and learning. We require team teaching, and we require different kinds of tools and techniques to promote it. The time has come I'm sorry to say it that we have not mentioned a word about interdisciplinary teaching and learning in the national education policy. Though we have talked about the co-curricular, though we have talked about the transdisciplinary research, interdisciplinary research here and there, but we have not talked about this significant aspect which we need to embrace and we need to institutionalize actually. This is one thing. The another thing is about the role of technology in higher education. I have talked a little about it. We all know that there is a race going on between education and technology, and this race will continue to accelerate in times to come. And if you are not going to update yourself with the advancement of the technology, you would find it difficult to ensure your relevance. Your life is going to be much harder than that of ours, actually. Leading universities have been promoting the use of digital tools like mobile learning, digital content platform, e-learning, virtual reality, augmented reality, gamification. Now, virtual reality has made it possible that you can make a student from a remote place to do practicals, to do experiments in the lab, adaptive learning and automated assessment, etc. Online learning is gradually becoming more prevalent now. While some universities are offering full degree programs in online mode, there are others which are using online programs to augment and complement their conventional programs. With where do we stand insofar as ICT is concerned? Actually, if you make a comparison, I mean, I'm not in favor of making comparison, but I would like to say that we had made a beginning in 2003 or 2004, when the IITs and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, came together and developed the NPTEL programs. UGC had also launched EPG Pathshala program under NMEICT in 2009 and developed courses at undergraduate level and postgraduate level. But I think we need to do a lot more insofar as the use of ICT tools is concerned, and particularly, and more so when the universities have started offering online programs. As of now, I mean, there are very few universities that can honestly fulfill all technical, academic, and social requirements of full-fledged online degree program. It is not only, I mean, the academic part of it or the technical part of it. There's a social requirement as well. If somebody is enrolled in an online program, and if that person or that child does not have access to the smart devices, the responsibility lies on the institution which has enrolled him for the online program. There are there's another important aspect which we have talked about in the national education policy, that is the diversification of campuses. We have talked about the internationalization of higher education, and we have gone to the extent in the policy saying that each institution will have will set up an office for the international students. But what we find is that we have not been able to come up with a very proactive approach, and as a result of which, hardly 47,000 foreign students are coming to our institutions. We have not been able to internationalize in terms of the number of the foreign students. We receive students mostly in undergraduate programs, and that too from the neighboring countries. If you see the United States of America, it continues to be the most sought after destination for centuries. US alone is hosting more than 1 million international students. Canada is also hosting a large number of students. UK is hosting more than 600,000 students, international students. And look at China. In the recent past, China has come up with such proactive policies that they are now hosting more than 500,000 international students. So we need, we have only a couple of universities which are attracting these international students from places like Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and Middle East. We need to work a lot to attract greater number of students. The another important aspect, which is which is very important, and we must be very proactive for that. The global trends in higher education shows that institutions are working hard to come up with flexible learning pathway policies, actually. Flexible learning pathways is an umbrella concept that involves multiple well-designed learning pathways that meets the need of diverse students. As the name suggests, it means that we have to provide the opportunities for the students. We have talked about it in our national education policy when we talk about the multiple exit and multiple entry options. But it is not only providing, it is not all about providing multiple exit and multiple entry options. It is also involved, it also involves the freedom to choose what to study, how to study, where to study, and when to study. That kind of facility we have not come up with. And because large number of children are coming now from the marginalized sections of the society, and therefore they would need that kind of flexibility. The leading countries have come up with flexible learning pathways policies for the purposes of these students. And I was looking into this aspect at the global level, and I found out that there are about 11 flexible learning pathways insofar as global higher education is concerned. We should also, I think, take care of it. We have come up with this multiple entry and multiple exit option. I think it is going to take a little while before it gets stabilized, but I think we have to expand it a little more by way of providing them the freedom to choose what to study and how to study and where to study and when to study, which will be an extension of this multiple exit and multiple entry options. Now I will come to the global trends in quality assurance. Quality in higher education is a multi-dimensional, multi-level, and dynamic concept. And it relates to the contextual settings. And because of this, no one has been able to articulate quality in education. There was a conference held in 2019 in China, and the world educational leaders, they could not arrive at a universal definition of quality. And finally, they left it open, and they said that quality is a social construct and it will remain a moving target. But what we have done, that we have come up with various kinds of agencies for the purposes of ensuring quality in higher education. At the global level, there are more than 300 quality assurance bodies which are operating. We also have set up NAAC in 1994, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. We have the National Board of Accreditation. While NAAC does institutional accreditation, NBA does program accreditation. And apart from these two national level resource institutions, we also have come up with the National Institutional Ranking Framework since 2015, wherein we are ranking the institutions in different, I think in about 11 different categories. Apart from that, we also are participating, some of our institutions, not all, are participating in the global ranking, which are carried out by agencies like Times Higher Education Supplement and QS ranking or Shanghai ranking, those kinds of things. I was looking into the QS Global Ranking of 2025, which has come out very recently. And I found out that about 1,500 old universities from across the world participated in QS 2025 Global Ranking. And ranking was based on 13 performance indicators as usual. I was looking into the top 10 universities, and I found out that of the top 10, 4 are from the United States of America, 4 from Great Britain, 1 from Switzerland, and 1 from Singapore. I mean, Singapore is coming as a new hub for higher education. Similarly, South Korea is also coming up as a new hub, apart from the well-established educational hubs like US and UK and Canada and Australia, Germany. And if you look up at top 100 universities, I mean, you can Google it and you can see it yourselves. You will find that 24 of them are from the United States of America, 15 from UK, 9 from Australia, and 5 from China. I mean, China has invested so much in higher education. They have identified certain institutions and pumped enormous amount of resources for the purposes of competing at the global level, that 5 of their universities this time have figured in QS ranking of 2025. I was looking I was looking for Indian institutions, actually. I found out that about 90 old institutions from our country had participated in the QS Global Ranking 2025. And I found out that it was only IIT Delhi, which is ranked at 150th. And then comes the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which is ranked at 211th. And rest of the, I mean, other premier institutions or the universities, they are only far below. What we need to do, I mean, of course, the kind of parameters which are employed, on certain parameters, we lose out very heavily, like the number of international students, the faculty, international faculty, those kinds of things, the volume of research and the quality of research. But we cannot turn a blind eye, actually, if we are to live in this fiercely competitive world. I think as a nation state, we need to invest much more on the university system. We need to accord top priority to higher education. Only then we would be able to make a mark insofar as, and which is why I had said right in the beginning, that when it comes to higher education in our country, we are not nowhere in the reckoning. Similarly, let me also slightly reflect 8 more minutes about the global research trends. Universities, of course, have the dual responsibility, we all know. They have to serve the local needs on the one hand, and they also have to address the global concerns through research on the other hand. But the modern societies need a greater number of research universities. And research universities are not too many, actually, even if you look at the international level. And it is said about research university that a research university cannot be a national university. It has to be truly international, actually. And if you look at the profile of the research-intensive universities, majority of them, barring a few, which are private, barring a few, I mean, most of them are the public universities. So, but if you look at the kind of research, status of research, actually, I was browsing through the US universities. US has about 260 research-intensive universities. And US is publishing more than 700,000 research papers annually. But I was looking into the investment that the US is making. US is investing I mean, this share of US in global research is 17%. But the US is spending 3.45% of their GDP on research. I mean, you can draw some lessons out of it. I got curious to know that UK is a very small system, though UK has more than 30 research intensive universities, and some of them are very outstanding universities actually. But I was looking into the Chinese universities. I found out that China has 160 odd research intensive universities. And the share of Chinese universities in global research is the highest. That is 20%, close to 20%, 19.67 or 69, I think, percent. China is publishing more than 1 million research papers annually. Chinese universities have outranked the US universities in terms of volume of research. I do not have the capacity to judge the quality, but in terms of volume, I mean, we can, on the basis of the figures that we get from the research data, we can draw that inference. But then I was looking at how much China is spending on research. I found out that China is spending 2.43% of their GDP on research. I mean, and then I thought that I should also look at our own data, and I found out that we have hardly, I mean, 10% institutions which can be categorized as research intensive institutions of higher learning, including the premier institutions like IITs, ISERs, and some universities. And that we are publishing around, I mean, 700,000 research papers annually. Our share in global research is as much as that of the United Kingdom, that is about 8%. Look at US, it is 17%, and look at China, it is almost 20%. But then I was looking how much are we spending on research and development, and I found out that we are spending only 0.65% of our GDP on research and development. So the lesson for us is that we need to increase investment in research and development. Only then we can compete globally in terms of creating a new knowledge at the global level. The quality, what I have found out in places like US, that they do not discriminate between public and private universities when it comes to financing of research. Whereas we have that kind of discrimination. We make that kind of distinction. So I think we need to look into those aspects. The another thing is that the universities in these countries, actually, they are collaborating with the industries. And somehow we have not been able to create that kind of culture. Maybe that the teachers are not, teachers do not have the confidence to meeting out the deadlines which the industry would set up for them, or maybe because of some other reasons. But I think we need to learn how these international institutions are collaborating with the industry, mobilizing additional resources, and contributing in the creation of new knowledge. So this is all about now what is the way forward actually. I'll take 3 or 4 more minutes. Out of this entire discourse, we can say that higher education globally has undergone significant shifts in the recent past, and that with rapidly changing landscape, the public sentiments about the value of higher education provided by most institutions is also shifting, which is why very often you would find discourses on the electronic media or in the print media that 25% of the Indian graduates are employable, and that majority of the children do not have the abilities or the skills which are required by the modern society. People are looking for answers how higher education is going to respond to skill requirements in the changing scenario, and how are they going to increase the employment opportunities that are arising due to automation, globalization, and emerging technologies. Challenges are manifold. We know those challenges, be it relating to the shortage of faculty, or be it relating to the equity aspect of it, or be it relating to declining resources, or increased inflation, or be it relating to the declining of enrollment in certain courses. But the message before us is that we need to anticipate the changing trends in higher education, and we should come up with the programs which are needed by the modern society. But at the same time, I mean, while we need to come up with high opportunity programs, which we may be relating to health, care, or behavioral sciences, or international business, or mathematical occupations, but we also have the responsibility of protecting and supporting the programs relating to humanities and social sciences and languages. I mean, if we are going to neglect these domains of knowledge at the cost of the information and communication technology related programs, we would become a very weak society. The current trends highlight the needs for a reimagined approach to giving futuristic orientation to what? Number one, I would like to put at number one, interdisciplinary teaching and learning. Number two, maximization of the use of technology. Number three, enhancing the student support services. Coming up with flexible learning pathways. Strengthening of the industry partnership, and enhancing funding, to strengthen the higher education system, and improving the internal efficiency of the institution. All this needs to be done from micro level to major level to macro level, actually. And therefore, the key lies in continuous adaptation and evolution of educational offerings. It would require a dynamic approach in this ever-evolving economic landscape, with this full support of the society in general and the governments in particular. That is what is needed. So I thought that I would highlight these important aspects insofar as the global trends in higher education are concerned, and where do we, and to give you some idea where do we stand, so that we can know what are our shortcomings, and you can apply your mind and come up with the strategies to overcome the inadequacies that our system is suffering from. So thank you very much. Now over to the organizers. This is all I wanted to say in about 60 minutes time. I would like to take some questions from the participants, provided they have any. So the next 10 or 15 or 20 minutes could be spent on that. So Professor Chauhan, now the floor is all yours. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the enriching session. And the platform is open now for all the questions and queries. Participants, you may write in the chat box, and also you can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions, and also share some thoughts if you want to share.
You can also share your observations. It's not necessary that you have to ask the questions. I'm not scared of questions at all. Please don't mistake me for that. But if you have some observations and you want to share that observation, the platform is all yours. I have given you a lot of stuff.
Yes,
I
yes.
have also frightened you. Hmm? I've also given you the idea where the world is heading to and where do you stand. And you have a tall order because you have to become a Vishnu. So I can see the smile on the faces of some participants. Huh? It is good to become a Vishnu. Hmm?
Yes. And I think whatever is coming in your mind, you can share. I think even if you are finding that what kind of difficulties can be there,
Hmm.
or whatever ideas are coming across your mind, you can start speaking.
How difficult it is, eh? To persuade the fellow colleagues to ask questions. Hmm? And this is what we do in our class also. Eh? We do not enjoy questioning in the class. We don't like it.
So I think
I will draw two inferences that they have understood every word of mine and that they do not require clarification at all. And the second inference could be that they knew
yeah,
much more than what I have shared with them, and therefore
some comments and questions are there.
there's no need. Eh?
BHKYCB. I think you can unmute and you can ask. He's asking, I have an observation to share that funding agencies should support universities or colleges with undergraduate research. Please comment. Your name is in abbreviation, so I'm not able to
It's okay. I
pronounce
mean,
it. Okay.
that's a very valid observation. Yeah, he made this observation, which is very valid. And particularly when you have a 4-year undergraduate program now, the 4th year is to be devoted towards research. And that research project should be undertaken under the supervision of a senior member of the faculty. Actually, uh, one of the purposes of switching over to the 4-year program is to provide opportunity to every student to participate in research. How far do we do that? It all depends upon us.
Some more questions are there, like what is the role of curriculum in enhancing our position as a global leader in education?
I have talked about it. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to revisit the existing curricular provisions and to switch over to interdisciplinary teaching and learning, which means that we have to come up with an integrated curriculum and that we have to make appropriate amendments in our pedagogical processes, pedagogical aids, in our assessment systems, actually. That is what is needed, and we can draw lessons from the leading universities of the world. How have they done it? This is what is needed the most. In times to come, we cannot address the world's real complex problems on the strength of the single discipline now. We'll have to come together. And for that, we need interdisciplinary teaching and learning. That is what I had emphasized, and I would like to reiterate it once again.
Yeah. Another suggestion, please suggest, question is there. Please suggest how a Vishwa Guru should come up with good practices for themselves.
I don't have an answer for that. I don't believe in that, actually. Knowledge is universal. Okay. And I do not know how far it is correct to claim becoming Vishnu Guru. Let me tell you one thing. I was looking, you all can Google it and see. I was seeing that what are the institutions which have which have captured the maximum number of Nobel Prizes. And not to my utter surprise, I mean, I was thinking that it either might be Oxford or Cambridge or Harvard. I found out that it is Harvard University which has bagged 151 Nobel Prizes thus far. I think Vimal can correct it. It was started in 1903 or 1901. 1903 में 1901 में मेरे ख्याल से शुरू हुआ है. I don't remember it exactly. I can be corrected. I mean, look, and they never say, I mean, Harvard knowledge system. So, ये ठीक है. Sometimes such slogans are used for motivating the workforces, but what we need to do is that we need to work a lot. We have created a very gigantic system. Our problems are very different. We are a very large country with, 144 crore people, and managing a system for about 47 crore children in the age group of 3 to 24. It's a very tall order. It requires enormous amount of resources. I mean, in 1966, when Kothari Commission submitted its report, Kothari Commission had made this recommendation that we should spend 6% of our GDP on education. And he was a very pragmatic man, so he said that we should do it in a phased manner. And he said that by 1986, we should be able to achieve that target. And now the question comes, how did he arrive at that 6% of the GDP figure actually? Because the developed countries at that point in time were spending close to 6% of their GDP on education. So he got the idea from there and made that recommendation. And I mean, today, if you look at the percentage of GDP spent on education by United States of America, Great Britain, Canada, Germany, France, they are spending close to 6% of the GDP even today. And therefore, I am of the opinion that now the time has come when we should constitute a committee, fresh committee, to ascertain the quantum of resources that are required to universalize school education. That is what we have said in our national education policy now, and to provide access to quality higher education to 50% of the children in the age group of 18 to 24. And those kinds of resources should be made available. Education should be put on the priority agenda. It's very unfortunate that education has not been a subject of discourse during our public debates, during our elections, by any of the parties. Actually, it's not only about one party or another party. I do not know when the time would come then when education would become an agenda, I mean, for the general elections in our country. I hope it should become soon.
Thank you, sir. And here I will like to add that what I have also experienced when I have interacted with many other colleagues is that many institutions are helping teachers. If they do any publication, they give incentive, but others don't. So even if there is whatever limited resource, there is no further going on into from administrator points of view also. So what is your take on that, sir?
You can have multiple strategies actually. Incentivization could be one. But incentivization also has its own limitations. Incentivization also creates camps on the campus of educational institution. So there are many more things. You have to have some systemic strategies. For instance, in order to compete at the global level and looking into the kinds of problems that we as citizens are facing in this country, we need to prioritize our research. What are we doing? I mean, we are undertaking repetitive research studies actually. So we need to prioritize. If urban transportation is our problem, I think that should be put on number one. If drinking water, providing drinking water to the citizens is our problem. We should put it at number 2. I mean, like that, we need to prioritize at the national level by organizing the national discourses. We should use the collective wisdom of the people. There is the beauty of our country is that we have a very talented workforce, actually, very talented workforce. But that energy is not properly channelized, number 1, and that the resources, kind of resources that are needed to compete at the global level, they are not made available to us. So we require that kind of a commitment. Let me share one thing with you. I mean, do I have 2 minutes, 5 more minutes?
Yes, sir, please. Yeah, please go ahead.
I'll tell you, you all are young colleagues, actually. In 1957, when the Russians had put the first man-made object into the space, it created ripples all over the world, and more so in the United States of America. And the US was headed by a 5-star general at that time, Eisenhower, who was the Second World War hero. And he called a meeting of the outstanding scientists, and he said that, gentlemen, I'm a soldier. I know how to win a war. I do not know much about education, but as a common man, I think something has gone horribly wrong with the teaching of science and mathematics in school education in the United States of America. And we need to fix it. Look at the mind of the leader, actually. Look at his concern for the country, passion. Huh? And then I will cut the long story short. He created a commission under the chairmanship of Professor Garrett, and very outstanding scientists who were initially reluctant to work. They abandoned their labs and they work on the school curriculum, and they came up with the performance indicators. They made films, they made documentaries. They identified the teachers of the proven track record and organized workshops for them. And when the teachers explained to them that they would not be able to do it in the class, they created documentaries for them and told them that this is how you can do it. And then, I mean, when Eisenhower was succeeded by John F. Kennedy as 35th president of the US, when he was addressing the joint session of the Senate and the Congress on 20th May 1961, he said, and I quote, "I want to send an American safely on the moon by the end of my presidency," unquote. You need that kind of commitment from your leaders insofar as education is concerned. I mean, he couldn't do it because he was assassinated in 1963, but then they sent Apollo 11 in 1969 with Edwin Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. This is how the nations are built, actually. It requires that kind of passion, that kind of commitment. So this is, I'm coming. So this is what is done. So thank you very much. Now you don't have questions, and my time is up. So over to Professor Vimal.
Thank you, sir. And if
Good
there
night.
are more
Good night.
questions, we'll have the privilege of having sir 2 more times in this very particular batch, so they can keep that ready. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So good night to everyone. All the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm leaving.
And let me now go to the important part of this particular batch, which I actually did not start at the beginning. I was on way, as I told you. So the UGC Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, which is GAD-MMTTC at our SCTB Khalsa College, has a state-of-art training facilities, and Very soon we'll be starting some offline events also, so you can have the opportunity of joining them. We also have a center for e-learning with the studio facility and the technical team. And as a matter of fact, for those who are new joinees, we have prepared more than 89 courses for the EPG Pathshala project in the 4-quadrant approach, and more than 50 MOOCs for SWAYAM portal, out of which 42 MOOCs we have prepared for the EPG Pathshala. At the time when entire country prepared 63 PG level MOOCs, out of these 42 is our contribution from the center. And we also have just a minute. Hello. मैं हूँ start कर दिया बीच में ये हाँ जी So we also have this teachers e-kit, which is my own concept, and as open education resource as a group you can contribute again in a 4-quadrant approach, and it is eligible for the API. We have been conducting training since 2016 when we initiated this Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. Earlier it was known as GAD-TLC. From 1st April 2020, we were into self-sustainable mode. And in the Corona time, we went into online programs, many FDPs, collaborative and individual. We conducted many, even when skill enhancement courses in University of Delhi were introduced, many FDPs we have conducted for that as well. And I'm happy to share with all of you that we are the leading center of this entire country. And just last week, I got to know the statistics that out of here also 116 centers in this new banner of Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, we are in the top 5 and #1 in the number of participants who are joining our program. So thankful to all of you. And if you look at the statistics till June 2024, more than 499 events and around 98,000 participants. So this I have yet to update the list, but I'm sure we'll be very soon crossing the 1 lakh figure. And we also have the mandate of conducting this ARPIT program, which we did from 2018 to 20. When there was no online, then also we had this online program on SWAYAM platform. And out of the 42 such centers, our chemistry content was rated not only in terms of the quality as #1, but also in terms of the enrollments and those who could benefit. And with this mammoth work, which our team is doing from last more than a decade at national level, the GAD-TLC was selected as one of the 45 centers who were selected out of around 99 centers and was awarded Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center to conduct NEP trainings for 15 lakh higher education teachers. And all of you should understand this new nomenclature. Any of you or your other colleagues, if they require that for promotion, the FDP should be there. See, learning can be done from anywhere. But for promotional requirements, now the certified centers are only Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center. And how this particular nomenclature is given to which prior centers? The UGC HRDCs, which were prior to that, they were called as academic staff colleges. There are 67 of them. So all of them are taken, and along with that, certain PMMT centers are taken basis of various things they have done with various committees. And all these selected centers are now called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Centers. And the vision of new phase is to build competencies in the faculty for better teaching, learning, and research by exposing them to Indian values, updating knowledge and skills, and aligning teaching, learning, and research with the needs of the society and NEP 2020. I think this says it all. So around this vision, all these centers will be making various programs which you can participate. To start with, sensitization and orientation. That is to know what all changes are happening, what all different policy changes are happening, what all the implementation documents are coming, and then at the university level, at the college level, what all changes in terms of the restructuring are required. And then if you look at the various modules which are there in this, then each of these modules can be taken as an individual FDP. So when all of you are attending this very particular program, try to introspect yourself that what are the areas where I now want to learn more. So there will be ample opportunities and you can grab these and prepare yourselves to go back. So now there are 116 such centers who have the mandate of conducting NEP programs that you are attending right now. So every center conducts 2 of these batches in every month. And I'm happy to share that we have the largest participation because this center is actually by the teachers and for the teachers. So we strategize in the way that looking at, we are also practicing teacher. I'm also taking my full classes along with my other colleagues. And the timing has to be comfortable to our colleagues. So that's why we kept it from 5 to 8. So without taking any duty leave, you can attend our flexible programs. Faculty induction program is mandatory for the newly inducted teachers. So this is a 24 days program, and this again is conducted in both online and offline way. Similarly, we conduct FDPs and refresher courses, which are all required for different stages of promotional requirements. In this very particular program, we will be focusing on 10 modules and they will be covered in 8 days. So some modules will be having obviously more sessions, some will be having less, but we have again analyzed based on the feedback and we constantly keep on working on that. So the different modules are holistic and multidisciplinary education, Indian knowledge system and multilingualism, academic leadership, governance and management, higher education and society, research and development, skill development, student diversity and inclusive education, information and communication technology, autonomy to the institution and choice to the students, and curriculum development, pedagogy, and assessment. So we will be giving you again, I'm repeating, just the awareness around this. Otherwise, every module has the capacity to be taken into a full 1 week, at least to a 1 month program. So you introspect yourself and accordingly you see that we will be giving you the initial part, but then how you have to prepare around this is something that you'll be doing in the detailed program. In this particular batch, the online sessions will be conducted on 20, that is today, 20, 21, 22, 23. Then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we will not be having any sessions. We'll have then 27, 28, 29 and 30th August. So that completes 8 days and every day there will be 2 sessions each. And the timing, I repeat again, 5 to 8 p.m. After that, we will be required to have 2 quizzes and the quizzes will be given to you from 10 a.m. 1st September 2024 and they can be done till late evening till 11 p.m. One more very important thing is, I hope all of you have checked your mail that you have joined the WhatsApp group through the link sent in that or the Zoom link in that. If you have not got the mail, this means either you have attended the session, you are attending this very particular session by taking link from your colleague or from forwarded somewhere. Please, if that is the case, immediately you should message your details to the office number, which is 9810454703. I'll be giving you the PDF of this important PPT that I am presenting. And for any other issue, you can also contact our email ID. But this means your name is not figuring on our panel because there some of you may be shifted into the waiting list for the next batch. So if you have not directly received the confirmation mail from our center, please, you are not a registered participant and we will not be, even if you attend and then you give the quizzes, we will not be able to do the completion. So immediately, if there are seats vacant, then we will be able to take you. And those who are not able to join, it is again a request to them that they can drop a mail that we don't want to be considered in this batch. You do it from next batch, so we can shift you. Otherwise, we will not be able to entertain, because all this Excel gets imported in the ministry portal, and then we will not be able to take you with the same email ID and all the credential, which obviously will be the same in your next batch. So the Excel import becomes difficult in the portal, because we have to all submit that who all registered, who all participated, and who all successfully completed. So this is very important compliance that I will request all of you to look into. Also attending, I'll request all of you to join with Zoom only. There will not be any recorded sessions. So it has to be attended live from 5 to 8 p.m. on the Zoom, and your video should be on. So as per the UGC guidelines for this particular orientation and sensitization program, we will not be giving you the recorded videos, and it is mandatory that you attend all the sessions in time and with your videos on. And you are required to log in 5 minutes before the start, and cooperation of all the participants in this regard is solicited. Failure to do so may disqualify a participant for the certificate of this program, and the decision of director in this regard will be final and binding. And that is the responsibility which UGC has given it to me. So I'll request you to be looking into all these. And what are the completion parameter? Let me be clear. Now, this very particular batch, although it is a 8 days program and it goes into 2 weeks, but then it is equivalent to 1 week FTP. Yes, as per the UGC guidelines. And let me share that I was one of the 4-member committee which formulated the guidelines for all the 116 centers. And it was debated that in this program, we aspire even the vice chancellors, principals, professors, the senior colleagues, everyone. So that's why you see 15 lakh higher education teachers, all should be joining. And because of that spirit, the grades will not be mentioned. So we appreciate that anyone who will be just qualifying, the 50% marks are qualifying, the grades will not be mentioned, because all higher education teachers, they are requested to join in this. But then those who want that this should be used for their promotional requirement, it is equivalent to 1 week FDP, and that is we will not be again mentioning for them also for this very particular program, but you can clearly see, tell your authorities, and that's why I'm telling you here. And if you need some clarification in that regard, we can say that this certificate is only given to those who will be having more than 50%, which is a qualifying requirement for any CAS requirement. So what are the breakup of 100 marks that we'll be assigning? Attendance and participation will be 20 marks. That will be based on Zoom, and the feedback analysis we'll do. Every session you will be given a feedback form. The feedback form will be given only in the Zoom chat. Yes, it will not be given in the WhatsApp, that you are just in the WhatsApp group and you just fill the feedback form. So your Zoom attendance will not be seen. You are not required to write your name and institution going in chat. Please join with your registered email ID or name or phone number. And if you are taking someone else, please rename yourself. So all these will be looking into as admin of Zoom, and automatically will be compiling the Zoom attendance. Along with that, the feedback analysis, that in every session feedback form, there will be 3 takeaways. So please keep a pen and paper handy with you. So keep on writing some feedback, what you are getting from these, along with the takeaways. So that has to be mentioned. Apart from this, at the end of all these sessions, on Sunday, as I mentioned, there will be these 2 quizzes, which will be based on the 5 modules each. And each of these quiz is of 40 marks. There will be 40 MCQs. So no subjective question. It is simple, a single correct option question, and you have to score overall 50 to get this. So 16 sessions, so 16 feedback forms will be there, and there will be one overall feedback. So don't miss to fill these 17 feedback forms. And these are the module splitting as per the quiz. So module 1 to 4 and module 9 in quiz 1, and module 5 to 8 and module 10 in the quiz 2. And as I told, let me repeat, certificate of participation will be provided only if all the assessment parameters are successfully completed. And no certificate will be provided. So we will not give you any participation certificate that you have attended but not completed or failed. So we will not be going into that. So we will be only giving certificate to those who have successfully completed. And this is what is required as per the UGC guidelines. And this is what will be the certificate format, where your institutions, your name, and the details and all, because this is something that I have taken a screenshot of the earlier batch. So will be. And I also request all of you to share our Telegram link. If you are not there, please you join and share this with your fellow colleagues also, so that all our other programs updates you get in time. And just don't delay, because let me tell you the statistics, the FDP that we release, within 2 hours, we have our seats full. So if you're thinking that then you may miss the bus, but then we do keep a track that it's not just simply you fill and then you don't attend, then again, we will not be considering those candidates who have not attended in our programs where they have registered. So you have to be serious to, so free programs mean that it's not that you're just, because we have seen the casual nature. So that's why I'm mentioning, and I'm keeping a entire database of the teachers who have registered but not attended, because we also have to plan our programs that they should not be less participation and they should also be not more participation. So it becomes a double challenge to us when it is a free program. So this was about how we are proceeding about this particular program. But then you can also send proposals for collaborative events with us, and the details we'll send you when you send a mail. And for this very particular NEP sensitization program, we will actually encourage, if you're more than 50 teachers from your same institution join as batch. And that is something, because all the changes which our speakers will be mentioning, you will not be able to convince your fellow colleagues. So everyone has to come on board, and then only the change will be happening. So with that spirit, we do encourage at least one batch. We keep on spreading. There are many waiting also that we keep on taking. And now, before I think Professor Bakshi sir has joined.
Yes, I'm there.
Yes,
Good evening, sir, and welcome, please. Yeah.
evening.
So before I request our next speaker, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, let me put an important disclaimer, which is applicable to all the sessions. The copyright of the session is of respective speaker. The GAD-MMTTC has no role in that. And without a prior written consent for the respective speaker, you may not use, please don't use or upload or stream his or her content either as full or partially as screenshot or publish in any form. We have seen some doing that. So it is a wrong practice, and we should be ethical in that. And another goes on the speaker also, that any sensitive thing, any incorrect information which the speaker does is again his or her responsibility. The center has no role to play. So we are taking this, giving this disclaimer from both the sides, and I'm sure all of us will be honoring that. So with that way, let us go to the next session of NEP orientation and sensitization program. And I'll request all of you, being an evening time, I think we are all stressed up in our daily routine. So please put a smile on your face. And then we are going to have a very, very motivating session by Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, who is founder, Vice Chancellor, PDM University, and former Vice Chancellor, UP RTOU Allahabad. And he is also former Executive Director of Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius. Let me briefly introduce him to all of you, although he also doesn't need any introduction, but we always learn and get motivated from stalwarts like Professor Ved Prakash sir, Professor Bakshi sir, and others, that yes, how they have reached, so what is their journey and all. So very briefly, I would like to mention that Professor Bakshi, as I mentioned, he has these top administrative position. He has also been the head of Department of Chemistry, director of CPDHE, which is now again another UGC-MMTTC, and director of Institute of Lifelong Learning, IIIL of Delhi University, and where actually I also joined and we started this journey of e-learning together there. He has been also a visiting professor at GGS-IP University of Delhi. Professor Bakshi has also been the chairman of our centers at Khalsa College of Ministry of Education, the GAD-TLC, as well as the National Resource Center of Chemistry. Member of Standing Committee of National Mission on Education through ICT, and that is the first mission where the higher education integration with technology as well as the school education started, and various pilot projects were given where we had contributed. He was also the chairman of the Content Advisory Committee for Chemistry for the Sakshat portal. Yes, like the Swayam portal, the Sakshat portal, which was hosted by, I think, if I'm not mistaken, sir, it was by IGNO, where the first e-learning content from Government of India was put up. A double gold medalist, a record breaker, and recipient of several awards and academic honors, Professor Bakshi was felicitated 2 times for his outstanding contribution to education by former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Professor Bakshi is the author, co-author of nearly more than 200 research and education articles, a patent, and to his credit, many books, 11 books, 51 e-books, more than 63 e-modules for the EPG Pathshala and the ARPIT programs. Professor Bakshi is one of the most sought after speakers in the country, having delivered more than 400 invited talks. I think this should be more. 400 तो मैं पिछले साल ही गिन लूंगी, I think. So, Professor Bakshi has also been a member of the National Writing Team for Chemistry Class 11th and 12th books for NCERT. He was elected as President of the Section of Chemical Sciences of Indian Science Congress Association for 2011-12 academic year. He has also been a member of various committees of national and international importance. And Professor Bakshi was recently felicitated by the Union Minister Smriti Zubin Irani for his outstanding contribution as Chairman GAD-TLC in the professional development of teachers of the country. He is also one of the first persons from universities in India to have been selected as a member scientist of the it's the third Indian research expedition to Antarctica, and was the first academician to be called so. And this expedition built India's permanent base, Dakshin Gangotri, in Antarctica. So I think this is something unique I have not heard about from this type of thing from any other scientist for that way. So a very warm welcome to you, sir, and over to you for delivering the session on higher education and society.
Thank you very much, Professor Bimal, for your very kind words of introduction. I can also see Professor Anuja Chauhan, the member of the working group. And I also take this opportunity to extend warm greetings to all the participants from all over the country for this NEP orientation and sensitization program. I know that it's a mixed group where we have assistant professors, associate professors, professors, and then all with varying experience. So, and then people representing different disciplines. So that way it's a very, very heterogeneous group. And it's always a challenge to deliver talks to such a group. And as it has already been mentioned to you, I would also request all of you to please keep your videos on, because this is as per the guidelines. And we won't want that anyone is disqualified just on this basis. So please do that. A small request to all of you. So coming to my talk, let me share my screen first. Is my screen visible and am I audible, please?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So as you can see, this is going to be a very important talk because in this talk, I am speaking on empowerment of teachers for challenges in higher education in India in the 21st century in the light of NEP 2020. So this talk will cover all the challenges which you people are going to face. And as it has been mentioned here, challenges are to be taken as opportunities in disguise. So this is the title of the talk. This is going to be a motivational talk aimed at empowering you so that you are able to succeed and thrive in the 21st century. And believe you me, it can prove to be a game changer for each one of you. This talk is based on my conceptualization and experience and will prepare you for facing the challenges both in your personal and professional lives. The thinking behind the talk is give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So that's basically the thinking behind this talk. This talk will be in two parts. In the first part, which will be just an introduction, I will talk about the salient features of NEP 2020 and the traditional roles of teacher in higher education. Now, this entire program is around NEP 2020. So what is the spirit behind this education policy? See, whenever any new education policy comes, what does it consider? It considers the fact that education is relevant and of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. And you know, the needs of the society are changing very fast. Therefore, in order to meet those needs, we have to come out with new education policies. And you will all agree that in the 21st century, the world is changing very, very fast, mainly because of technological advancements. And all the challenges which we are going to discuss mainly come because of this. So this is something you have to keep it in mind. And this NEP 2020 proposes various reforms in education, both in school and higher education, that are suited to 21st century needs. If you look at the document of NEP 2020, it is a visionary document which expresses the aspirations of the nation and aims at making India a global knowledge superpower. When I say global knowledge superpower, it means superpower not only in terms of knowledge dissemination, but also in terms of knowledge creation. And knowledge creation is research. So that is this point. And the second is global study destination. That means our higher educational institutions should be so good that learners from all over the world come to India for their higher studies. So these two are the major aims of NEP 2020. And ultimately, this policy aims to make India a vibrant knowledge society. What do we mean by vibrant knowledge society? See, a vibrant knowledge society is a dynamic community where knowledge is actively created, then that knowledge is shared and then utilized to drive innovation, economic growth, and social well-being. So you can see everything revolves around knowledge, and knowledge comes from research. So that way you can very well imagine that research is going to play a very important role in the years to come. And you know, this NEP 2020 proposes to achieve various goals, which I mentioned, by making school and college education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. These three are very important characteristics: holistic education, flexible, and multidisciplinary. And there are 5 pillars on which this NEP 2020 is based: access, quality, equity, affordability, and accountability. All these aspects are covered. So this is a very important point which I am talking, because I am just sharing with you the spirit. So these are the salient features. Now, when I say holistic development, it means overall development of the learners, be it physical, emotional, mental, or social. And when we say education is to be imparted with equity, you can see on the right side, the knowledge is equity is social justice. You have to be fair. Unlike equality, which is on the left side, that may not be doing social justice. So this is the difference between the two. And why we are focusing on empowerment of the teachers? Please remember, the quality of an education system can never exceed the quality of its teachers. Therefore, if you want to exceed the quality of an education system, you must raise the competence level of the teachers. And the competence level of the teachers will be raised only through their empowerment. And that is what this talk will focus on. And you know, once teachers are empowered, they will in turn empower their students. So basically, we are focusing on empowering teachers in order to support student learning. And one more thing you have to remember, that our greatest natural resource is the minds of our children. India is one of the youngest nations of the world. 50% population less than 25 years. 65% population less than 35 years. So we need to reap this demographic dividend, this advantage of young nation. And we need to ready these young people for challenges for future. And to a great extent, responsibility rests on the teachers. Please remember that students may be 25% of our population, but then they are 100% of our future. We have to ensure that they get right education, because a child miseducated is a child lost. We cannot afford to lose even a single child. No talent of the country should go waste. All these aspects you have to look, I mean the teachers. So this was a very brief introduction to NEP 2020. Now I come to the traditional roles of a teacher in higher education. You will agree that these are the main roles of a teacher in higher education: to disseminate knowledge, that is teaching, then to create knowledge, that is research and guiding research, and then academic administration and management. And then a teacher is expected to excel in all the roles. Before I move further, let me tell you, in my opinion, based on my vast experience, if you want to be an outstanding teacher or a researcher, you should have a very sound and deep knowledge in your discipline. You should have clarity of concepts. And you should have done a lot of thinking on the subject. See, your teaching should reflect the amount of thinking you have done on the subject. And you should have the passion to become an outstanding teacher, besides being very good in practical skills. And if you want to be an outstanding researcher, besides what I have said, you need to be an out-of-box thinker. You need to have an analytical mind, break the problem into various parts and then connect them. You should be innovative and creative. And then 4 C's: curiosity, creativity, courage, and commitment. These are the hallmarks of an outstanding researcher. See, all these things are very easy to say, but these cannot be nurtured overnight. You have to be trained for all this. And then, both for an outstanding teacher and a researcher, you should have excellent communication and presentation skills. They can be a big asset to you because no one will really take the pains to listen to your ideas until and unless your communication is effective and impressive. Nobody will take pains. And many of you must be young. You can still make efforts, improve upon these skills. You may be very good in knowledge, but sometimes if you are lacking in communication and presentation skills, your teaching doesn't remain that effective. And please remember, all the great speakers were bad speakers at first. But then they worked hard and they could reach to the top. That is something you have to keep it in mind. So this was my part A, where I talked about the salient features of NEP 2020 and the traditional roles of a teacher. Now I come to the main part, and that is challenges in the 21st century in the context of higher education. This is what I could think. First is, we are living in an information age where we can get any information just by the click of a button. But this information age is posing many challenges. One is that this is an age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. There is a Future of Jobs report published by the World Economic Forum. Based on this, you can say that we are not sure where our students will be employed tomorrow. Those jobs may not be even existing right now. So that way there is an age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. Then this is an age of mass education. See, this is an age where more students over the next 30 years will graduate than since the beginning of the recorded history. So what does it mean? More students will be coming out of colleges and universities. Traditional jobs are already becoming less. Takers would be many, so that will create a tough competition. And the third is, this is also an age of artificial intelligence. The way the technology is changing, this is an age where the artificial intelligence will equal the intelligence of the students by the time they finish their formal education. So the question is, if I can have machines with the same intelligence as you, then why do I need you? So that's going to be a challenge. As a matter of fact, all those jobs which are of repetitive or predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, no research base or no specialization, all these jobs are going to be in danger. Either because of artificial intelligence or automation or robotics. Look at the picture. This is the picture of the future. Humans will be working along with robots. And now very recently, Elon Musk, who is the CEO of Tesla, he said that very soon AI systems will become smarter than the smartest human on the earth, probably by next year or by 2026. So you can very well imagine how things are changing. So in the light of this, the challenge before a teacher is going to be what to teach, and how to teach, so that our students are successful in a future which is so uncertain. So this is one first challenge. Second challenge comes from sustainable development goals. See, sustainable development is the burning issue in the world at present. Everybody talks about this. Every global platform talks about this. Sustainable development means what? Sustainable means something which can be maintained for a long period of time, even keeping in view the future generations. And development is always economic development. But this sustainable development has become an issue of concern. There are so many issues of concern. Why this is an issue of concern? Look at this. Population is exploding very fast. Today, world population is about 8 billion. By 2050, it will be 9.7 billion. So this population explosion will lead to the fast depletion of resources, including food, minerals, and other, because there will be pressure on those resources. There is going to be water scarcity in the years to come. FAO report says that by 2025, 1.8 billion people will face acute water scarcity. Then there is also a problem of environmental degradation. You all know pollution, even plastics, they create so much pollution. And then there is a problem of climate change, rising sea levels, increase in atmospheric temperature, etc. So you can see all these are the issues of concern for sustainable development. And education needs to address them. Who else will address them? That was the reason why United Nations in 2015 gave 17 sustainable development goals to be achieved by 2030 in United Nations agenda. This was an agreement which was signed by 193 countries, including India. So there are 17 development goals, as you can see on the right side. First is no poverty, second is zero hunger, third is good health, fourth is quality education, etc. But United Nations did not give any roadmap how these can be solved, because the nature of the problem varies from region to region. No single solution will be applicable everywhere. And you know, these 17 sustainable development goals, if you examine them minutely, they represent the real world problems. And in order to solve them, you need knowledge of several different disciplines. For example, look at climate change. It's a universal problem, global problem. But if you want to solve it, we need experts of climatology, political science, economics, green technology, sociology, etc. And you know, from here came the concept of multidisciplinary education. Because the thinking behind multidisciplinary education is that it will allow students to gain a deeper understanding of any subject matter through the lens of different disciplines. That's the importance of multidisciplinary education. And you know, when this United Nations agenda was signed long back in 2015, our Prime Minister at that time said, much of India's development agenda is mirrored in the Sustainable Development Goals. And you will be surprised that most of government's policies are aligned with these goals. Even G20 meeting, which we had recently in India last year, its agenda is also aligned with 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Because ultimate aim is to eradicate poverty and achieve sustainable development and build an inclusive and sustainable future. And one more thing which I want to mention here is that one of the goals is quality education, sustainable development goal number 4. And what is this goal? Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong opportunities for all. So in this goal, these terms come: inclusive, equitable, quality education, and promoting lifelong learning. And this goal was given in 2015. NEP came in 2020. And you will be surprised that the various provisions of NEP 2020 are basically based on this goal. So even our NEP 2020 is also aligned with this Sustainable Development Goal. So that highlights the importance of these goals. And achieving these goals by 2030 itself is a big challenge because only 6 years are left. And education can play a very important role, and that is why it is a challenge for all of us. The third challenge, in my opinion, before all of us is going to be, what are the 21st century learning needs? What things should we learn in the 21st century? Because learning comes through education. So education, how it has to change? That's the question. See, it is believed now that in the 21st century, if you want to excel, you need at least two things. One is rigorous academic content. You should be very good in the subject. And second is 21st century skills. And these two taken together will lead to deeper learning, which is a must for anybody to succeed and thrive in this world. Now, the question is, what are these 21st century skills? See, 21st century skills are a set of abilities which each one of us should have if we want to excel in the modern times. If you look at these 21st century skills come under three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. Learning skills are critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, 4 C's. Literacy skills are information literacy, media literacy, and technology literacy, IMT. And then life skills, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So taken together, these are 12 skills. These are must for anybody to succeed in their personal as well as professional lives. They will elevate your job performance. And why these skills are becoming so popular? Because, machines cannot replicate these skills. You cannot have a machine with these skills. You cannot have a machine which is critically thinking or which is creative or which is having leadership quality. So these are the skills which are going to be in demand. So these skills, along with knowledge, ultimately leads to quality education. I think this is the most important slide. Quality education in the 21st century will focus on these three things: knowledge, disciplinary, interdisciplinary, and practical knowledge. 21st century skills, and then domain-specific skills. You are in economics, some economics-related skills. You are in chemistry, then those skills. And then your personality, values, attitude, traits. See, it is now widely believed that these three things, knowledge, skills, and personality, constitute or determine your competence for any profession. That's why, universities are now coming out with various skill enhancement courses or various value-added courses so as to strengthen these points. And these three things will ultimately is the goal of education, that is the competence. And this competence comes from this. This is the summary. You may be in any profession. Your competence will depend upon your knowledge, skills, and personality. For example, you are an engineer, your knowledge of the engineering subject, your skills, 21st century and domain-specific skills, and your personality. You are a bureaucrat, you will have a different knowledge, but knowledge, skills, personality will matter. So this is something you have to keep it in mind, that whenever we are imparting, or see, when we were young students, focus was mainly on knowledge. People didn't bother much about skills and personality. They thought everybody has some personality. But now all the three are equally important and they need to be given due attention. The fourth challenge, in my opinion, is that we need to create creative and innovative mind. There is a need of creative and innovative minds in India. See, I personally feel that there is a crisis of innovation and creativity in the Indian education system. Look at the fact, no Indian scientist working in India has been able to get Nobel Prize after 1930. C.V. Raman was the last person who got it in 1930 for the discovery of Raman effect. After that, no Indian scientist has got. No Nobel Prize for any Indian chemist ever working in India. These people did get Nobel Prizes, but they were non-resident Indians. Even Amartya Sen, although he is an Indian, but for years he has been staying abroad. Even Abhijit Banerjee is an American citizen. But one thing you should remember, Nobel Prize is not a lifetime achievement award. It is for a breakthrough, which changes the course of history of humanity. And if you really want to excel in research at that level, you need, amongst other, these three main things: enormous amount of creativity and open-mindedness. And this creativity cannot come overnight. Then there should be willingness to collaborate. We teach our students to look at every other student as a competitor. It becomes very difficult for them to look at each other as collaborator. And then we also need perseverance and resilience. Failures happen, but you should bounce back. These are three very important qualities. And one of the main reasons why India is not good in ranking of its higher educational institutions is poor quality of our research programs. As a matter of fact, sometimes best students do not come to research. So, question is now, why we are lacking in quality research? That may be a question in your mind. Because I personally feel we never teach our students for doing research. We teach them to score marks and do very good in examination. And why we are not able to encourage our students to do good research? Because our education system is like that. There is something fundamentally wrong in our education system. And what's wrong in our system? Just watch this video.
For decades, people have been finding hundreds of flaws in the education system. No conceptual understanding, no creativity, children are stressed, and the list goes on. All these are symptoms. But what is the root cause to all this? What is the fundamental flaw in the education system? Let us play a rapid-fire game. You have 1 second to answer every question. Let's start. First question, A4? Okay, no more questions. Did you think apple first? 98% of people are most likely to think so. Because that was what we were told in our kindergarten. Imagine that this was done differently. Say we had asked you for all the words starting with A, ant, ace, April, apt. Different answers would have popped out of everyone's head. Do you see where the problem is? Before children start going to school, every child is unique. Every child thinks different. But the education system makes every child think the same. This is the fundamental flaw in the education system. Why did this start? During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the education system was designed to make children ready to work in factories. The factories did not require people to think, but to only work like robots. So, the education system stripped children of their freedom to think and destroyed their true potential. The same education system continues even today. Only the industries have changed. A study by NASA shows that 98% of children think different before they start going to school. As they go through this education system, at 25 years of age, only 2% think different, and 98% think the same. So how does the education system make every child the same? Let's go back to the apple example. Kindergarten lessons told us that A is for apple. We asked you for words that start with A. Our education system gave us the answers. We asked you a question. Answers make you the same. Questions make you different. Right from kindergarten, the education system keeps giving answers. Instead of asking children how plants make food, the science teacher gives you the definition of photosynthesis. Instead of asking them to describe the sun, the teacher tells them that the sun is a ball of fire at the center of the solar system. Through their years in school, children lose the capability to think on their own. Whether it is their choice of career or their relationship or any situation in life, they become.
So you can see how our education system strips the children of their ability to think on their own. So how can we expect them to become creative? So this is a serious flaw in our education system. Our education system is outdated and does not encourage thinking, innovation, and creativity amongst students. And please remember, without creativity, there can be no progress. And we would be forever repeating the same pattern. Therefore, we have to think on that. This is a big challenge before us. Because we are producing rote learners. We don't need them. So the next challenge is how to enhance the quality of higher education imparted in India. That naturally could be the next question in your mind also. See, in any education system, three things are very important. One is, what do we teach? That is curriculum, which is like the menu which we offer to our students. Then how do we teach? That is the pedagogy. And third is, how do we assess our student? That is the assessment. And if you look at India's education system, we have 21st century students. The content which sometimes we teach is of 19th century. Methods of teaching, assessment methods, courses, architecture, all are outdated. We haven't changed much with the changing times. That's why the problem is. Now, for example, look at curriculum in detail. Curriculum is what? Curriculum is basically a total learning experience in any program. And the biggest challenge to curriculum is coming from the growth of knowledge. The knowledge in all disciplines is growing very fast. So fast that the doubling time of the growth of knowledge has shrunk considerably. See, shelf life of knowledge is becoming very short. There was a time when human knowledge was doubling in 150 years. But now human knowledge is doubling in almost 73 days. So what does it mean? It means that our curriculum becomes outdated as soon as it is created. Please remember, what we know in any discipline is merely a drop, and what we do not know is an ocean. That's why, NEP 2020 also says we should have light syllabi, light because we should give students more time for thinking. But it should be modern because knowledge is growing very fast. Because, outdated syllabi will increase the gap between what is learned and what should be learned. And this affects the quality of research. One of the main reasons why we have not become leaders in many fields and are still followers, this is one reason: outdated syllabi. See, Professor C.N. Rao, who is the Bharat Ratna scientist, he says 90% of the universities in India have outdated curriculum. So, in the present scenario in the world, we need to have skill-based and industry-led curriculum. Because the world is shifting towards skill-based economy. emphasis going to be more not on theoretical knowledge, but on practical knowledge and hands-on experience. And teachers need to be trained accordingly. See, teachers also sometimes teach skills the same way as they teach knowledge. No, knowledge is theoretical. Skills are practical. They need to be taught in a different way. And the way the skills are becoming very important, it is said, future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways. Now come to pedagogy. Pedagogy is how you teach. Pedagogy basically means art and science of teaching. See, we still follow the traditional talk and chalk method, which is a teacher-centric approach, monologue, many complex concepts you cannot explain on the board. It presumes that all students learn in identical fashion. Then you can't solve many problems in the class because there is a paucity of time, and then it is slow and time-consuming. And then this method focuses more on examination, rote learning, and scoring high marks. This is very unfortunate. This is today's reality in every discipline. Nobody wants to learn concepts. Everybody wants to score 90+ marks. See, irony of our country is that we focus more on well-filled mind. We keep on filling the minds of young students with more and more knowledge. But what we need is well-formed mind. The mind which is coming out of thinking, innovation, and creativity. Because, real education is that which transforms the learners. Just as a seed gets transformed to plant, plant gets transformed to tree, that should be the aim of education. That is why now it is said, learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners. So, our teachers should engage the learners in various activities, and they will learn much more. That is why in the modern world, learner-centric education is becoming more popular. The thinking behind the learner-centric education is that students will learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skills because they need them to solve the problems at hand. And all this is possible in this information age due to ICT. You can do all this. Because the biggest advantage in the modern times is you can get any information very quickly. And these are experiential learning is also a learner-centric education. Because it's based on doing what you do. That is why fostering experiential learning and critical thinking among students is an important objective of NEP 2020. And learner-centric education is not any particular method of teaching. All these methods are learner-centric: problem-based learning, project-based learning, case studies, inquiry-based learning, flipped classroom model, collaborative learning, then community outreach, travel, internship, research program, all are learner-centric. Because students are involved in various activities. They themselves do. Teacher is only guiding them. And in the learner-centric education, the roles of the learners will also change. They will not be merely passive learner as they are in the teacher-centric approach. They will become active, highly independent, and creative thinkers. Because at every stage, they will think what they need next. Teacher will be only to guide them. Look at these universities, Harvard, Stanford, and Wharton. These are the leading universities of the world. In all of them, the more focus is on case studies, experiential learning, project-based learning, problem-based learning, and very little focus on lecture-based learning. So what I mean to say is that you will all have to change your way of teaching. Because if we teach today's student as we taught yesterday, we are going to rob them of tomorrow. We will have to change with the changing times. This was my article in Times of India's Education Times, the creativity crisis in the Indian education system. This is about flipped classroom. And the third component in education is how do we assess our students? This is very important. And even NEP 2020 says we need to transform the culture of assessment, because assessment drives learning. The way you will assess your students, your student will start learning in that way. So this can be a very good way to enhance the quality of education in the country. So, you know, this is an indirect way, but this is really very, very important. If you look at our current examination system, it is rote-based, mainly about textbook content and testing facts, definitions given there. Anything, if it comes outside the textbook, people start protesting and they say out of syllabus, etc. Therefore, you know, we need to make our assessment system more scientific to encourage multiple skills of the student. What types of skills? Analytical skills, critical thinking, conceptual clarity. And who will do that? Teachers only can do that. For example, you know, teachers can play a very important role in assessment and evaluation. We have currently about 4 crore students in higher education. They appear in various exams. By changing their pattern, we can bring about a big change. For example, look at this knowledge aspect. See, knowledge. When students acquire knowledge in any discipline, we call it a cognitive learning. It is a 6-level hierarchy. Look at this. It is a 6-level hierarchy. Any cognitive learning starts from the bottom, remembering, then comes understanding, then comes application, then goes up to creativity. So these are the 6 levels hierarchy. These, we can also say, these are the 6 learning outcomes. Our cognitive learning starts from lower order thinking skills, goes to higher order thinking skill. And you know, our assessment, our examination should also test all the 6 levels. Unfortunately, in our country, we generally test only remembering, understanding, or little bit application. No, we need to test all the 6. And these are the various ways. For lower order, you can have MCQs, short question answer, match, fill in the blanks, etc. But for higher orders, you need to have some project or internship or e-portfolios, etc. And you know, the 6th challenge, in my opinion, is we need to embrace technology and become tech savvy. All the teachers will have to become tech savvy now, because it is difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. Please remember that. Even NEP 2020 says that the relationship between technology and education at all levels is bidirectional. What does it mean? Technology enhances the quality of education, and enhanced quality of education then further improves the technology. So they feed on each other. And if you look at the way technology has already changed the way education is imparted, look at this. All this happened after COVID timing, during Corona and afterwards. Teaching learning has changed. E-learning, MOOCs are becoming very popular. Experimental work is done through virtual labs. Revision of syllabi can be done through email, discussion forum, video conferencing very quickly. For research, so many ICT tools have come. The way the research is conducted has totally changed. Assessment is online. National Testing Agency has been created. Professional development of the teachers, like this program, is online, and then so many ICT-empowered pedagogies have come. All this happened during Corona and afterwards, mainly. And this is who has done all this? Teachers have done by using technology. So you will all have to become tech savvy. Please remember, being tech savvy is no longer optional for you. It is essential for providing high quality education, meeting the needs of modern students, and preparing them for technology-driven world. But one more small thing, technology now everybody uses, but technology should be used strategically to benefit students. Excessive use of technology by students has adversely, impacted their creativity. They have stopped thinking. For every small thing, they depend upon technology. So this is a harmful effect. And technology in education is a journey. The way the technology is growing, artificial intelligence is going to come in a big way, and it is redefining the education in the world. As a matter of fact, artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way we teach, learn, and research. So what I mean to say is you will all have to become tech savvy. This is a big challenge. There should not be any resistance to adopting technology. But please remember, technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational. You should be a great teacher and then should be tech savvy. That combination can do wonders. This was my article in Times of India. Technology won't replace teachers. And then the seventh rule comes, the new roles of teachers in higher education. In the light of whatsoever I have said, the roles of the teachers are now going to change. So that's also a challenge for you. You have to embrace those roles, because these roles are going to change significantly. You will have to become tech savvy in ICT skills, 21st century skills, AI skills. Students are today enrolled in e-learning and MOOCs. If they have some queries, who will answer you? So, so you must learn how to manage virtual classroom or discussion forum. You need to engage students by learner-centric pedagogies. That means teacher will now become more like a coach or a mentor rather than the knowledge provider. There was a time when teacher was considered to be the source of knowledge, not now. And then you should be proficient in the development of e-content and MOOCs. See, nearly 4,000 MOOCs are there on SWAYAM platform. Who has developed them? The teachers only. And for developing MOOCs, you need to be a very good teacher, and you should be excellent having writing skills. So, these are the new roles of the teachers. So the main thing you have to remember is knowledge. Teachers are now, roles are changing from knowledge givers to facilitators of learning. This is the new roles of the teacher, because now there are multiple sources of knowledge available. YouTube, so many platforms, everywhere you can get knowledge. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, a change of mindset is required. That's what I would say. Don't think that what I know is enough. Thinking should be that I must learn more. Because, there is a famous quote, birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. You have to come out of that shell. And, all the challenges which I mentioned, the key to meeting those challenges lies in the regular empowerment. Teachers need to be told, then they need to be trained for that. And now I come to the last challenge, which I think is most important, and that is some personality development tips for enhancing your competence. If you remember, I showed you this slide earlier, that your competence in any profession depends upon these three things: knowledge, skills, and personality. We generally focus on knowledge and skills, and personality gets neglected. But please remember, personality, I don't mean looks. Personality means a set of traits and behaviors that characterize an individual. It doesn't mean your looks only. And why personality is important? Look at this data. 87% of all people fail not because of capability, but because of personality. And the worst part is they don't know that their personality is coming in the way of their job performance. Because, personality development is often neglected in India. Very unfortunate. We think that everybody will have some personality, so why to focus on that? But then sometimes it becomes the deciding factor in your job performance. Because personality influences almost every aspect of human life. Therefore, I want to give, based on my own experience, some personality development tips in the form of life lessons to enhance your competence. First thing is, you should always remember that life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. So whatsoever I have understood from my life, I am sharing it with you so that you can learn from my experience or mistakes. Look at this quote. The grandma telling the little daughter, "It's only a short trip, enjoy it. Life looks like an eternity, but actually it is just a short trip." So keep this thing in mind. You're not here for all times to come. Therefore, you should learn the art of living. This, unfortunately, is missing in our system. Most people are only existing. Living has become almost rare. Please remember, you only live once, but if you live it right, one is more than enough. So the question is, what we mean by art of living? Art of living means capability to draw pleasure from life and to succeed in the greatest test called life. You have to draw pleasure from life and to pass in this test called life. That's basically the art of living. So what are the tips for the art of living? That's what I'm going to tell you. But please remember, this was the report in Indian Express that India ranks 126th out of 143 nations in World Happiness Index. Indians are stressed, thinking, negative, angry, all like that, always disturbed, always thinking more about future. India is not that happy. Again, because of their personality. So, please remember, you will never find a happy life. You will have to make it. There is no perfect life, but you can fill it only with perfect moments. So the first point for you, I would say, is be proactive in life. See, everybody follows an approach to life. Follow the proactive approach. If you are proactive, you will focus on preparing. You will work well in advance. If you are reactive, you will end up focusing on repairing. So please be proactive in life. Think what are the problems which can come and so work well in advance. Because proactive people don't wait for the ship to come in, they swim out to it. So this is the first thing which I would advise to you. Second is, many people, are very good, but very soon they start living in a comfort zone. Please come out of your comfort zone. Because, life begins at the end of your comfort. Many people think, oh, I am getting good salary, my husband or wife getting good salary, children are well set, why should I work? So that's a sort of comfort zone. You will have to come out of that. Because it's only after you have stepped out of your comfort zone that you will begin to change, grow, and transform. In comfort zone, you will not be able to achieve anything. So you test yourself where you are. Then work hard sensibly. I know many of you are very hardworking, but working hard is not enough. Working hard sensibly is very important. And when I say sensible hard work, it means direction is more important than speed. In what direction you are working. So choose your direction very carefully. Of course, you are free to choose any direction, but then you will not be free from the consequences of your choice. So please choose your direction very lot of thinking, because you're spending your life's time on that. You cannot afford to take it lightly. You should manage it well. You should plan it well. It's often very unfortunate that people often spend more time planning their vacation rather than planning their career. And please remember, once you have chosen a direction, then please remember that life is a process. No one rises suddenly in the world, not even the sun. But keep on working along the right direction, be persistent, have a never give up attitude, then there will be no looking back. Self-belief is another very important quality for all of you. Look at this quote, a bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch but in her own wings. This self-confidence is very essential for success in life. Belief in yourself. And one who believes in himself has no need to convince others. So this self-belief is something you should have. And then self-discipline is very important. Sometimes I call it switch on, switch off. Self-discipline means mastery over your thoughts. If you can control what you think, you can always control what you do. And you know, mindset you have to control. See, mind is within the brain. Brain is an organ. Mind is like a software. You can control it by practice. Because there is nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts. And we are always thinking. We are always thinking. An average person thinks about 70,000 thoughts a day. Cages are not made of iron. They are made of our thoughts. So control them. Control your mindset. You will be able to control your life. And if you can learn self-control, you can master anything. And this self-control will also make you mentally tough, because sometimes you need to be mentally tough, especially in the face of adversity. So this self-control will also prepare you for that. And then always strive for excellence. Look at the quote, a penguin can never be a giraffe. So try to be the best penguin you can be. Excellence should be your keyword. Every line needs top people. Tell me any line where top people are not respected and honored. If you want to become a teacher, outstanding. Researcher, outstanding. Administrator, outstanding. And then be positive and honest in life. Nobody bothers, but it's for your own conscience. Always have positive thinking. Look at this, 11 marks out of 10. Height of positivity. Positive thinkers will have a solution for every problem. Negative thinkers will have a problem for every solution. And you know, we meet both types of people in our day-to-day life. Be a positive thinker. And then many of our young people are not able to succeed because they fear failure in life. Overcome this fear. जब तक तुम डरते रहोगे, तुम्हारी जिंदगी के फैसले कोई और लेता रहे. Overcome the fear of failure in life. Because you know, failures can be the pillars of success depending on how you take them. Take them as a stepping stone. Fail is first attempt in learning. Failures are not opposite of success. Failures are part of success. And your attitude towards failure determines your altitude after failure. So again, attitude comes from your mindset. So you can see everything depends upon your mindset. Art of living actually depends on your mindset. And then stop worrying and start living. See, this is a very common problem. We spend more time worrying about future. As a matter of fact, it is said that worry is a misuse of your imagination. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. One day you will look back and realize that you worried too much about things that don't really matter. But what's the point? By that time, so much time would have gone. You can't undo that. So the best thing, my advice to you is worry only about the things which are in your control. And what is in your control? Your attitude, your effort, your focus. Don't worry about the things which are out of your control. What others will think, what will happen in future, what will be the outcome of my efforts. Forget about that. This simple demarcation, if you are able to achieve, this will solve you of many problems. Again, it comes through self-discipline, mindset. And then take risks in life. This is also my advice to you. Be prepared to lose if you want to win in life. Sometimes we need to lose the small battles in order to win the war. Take risks, be courageous, nothing wrong. And create a sense of urgency in your life. This is a very important tip for each one of you. See, if you give yourself 30 days to clean your home, it will take you 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, it will take you 3 hours. The same applies to your goals, ambitions, and potential. So you can create a new life for yourself by creating more urgency in your current. Set deadlines, achieve them. Every evening or night, you decide that tomorrow I have to finish these things. Create an urgency, yes. You will see, you will have a new life for it. Otherwise, work will always expand according to the time available. There will be no end to the work. And then this is another tip for you, control anger. Everybody gets angry, there is no doubt. It's a normal emotion. But please remember, whenever you get angry, think of this slide. The fire of anger burns you first. So if you keep this slide in mind, you will not get angry. Never say mean words out of anger. Your anger will pass, but your mean words can scare a person for life. Yes. Use either kind words or be silent. When you are angry and if you remain silent, it requires tremendous strength. Not everybody is able to achieve that. And one more thing, psychology says, note down this point. Psychology says that beneath anger, there is always some fear. Whenever you are angry, there is some fear in your mind. Think of that. और एक ये यूजफुल टिप है, किसी पर ज्यादा नाराज होने से बेहतर तो ये है कि अपने जीवन में उसकी अहमियत को धीरे धीरे कम कर. So then comes time management, which you all will agree is time life management. Manage your time. Richest man in the world, the poorest man in the world, everybody gets 24 hours a day. The secret to success is how you manage it. ये एक अमिताभ का कोट है ना, कल खो दिया आज के लिए, आज खो दिया कल के लिए, कभी जी ना सके हम आज के लिए, बीत रही है जिंदगी कल आज और कल के लिए. So please invest your time, don't spend it. Every day is once in a lifetime. Every day is once in a lifetime. And every day is the first day of the rest of your life. Every day is the first day of the rest of your life. Take it like that. एक बड़ा अच्छा कोट है, बंधी हैं हाथ पर सबके घड़ियां मगर पकड़ में किसी के एक लम्हा भी नहीं. That's how the time will pass. You may be today 40-year-old, 50-year-old, whatsoever age, that years have gone. Still you can change your life. And time spares no one. Time spares no one. Look at this. This is a song from Bollywood, but it's a lesson in itself. So, all these were great actors, fan followers, so many, but see how the end has come. So that's a lesson for all of us. Make best use of the time. Live in the moment. Because the present moment is the only moment available to us and it is the door to all moments. Life becomes more meaningful when you realize the simple fact that you will never get the same moment twice. So please live in the moment. एक बड़ा अच्छा हिंदी का कोट है, मैं कल को तलाशता रहा दिन भर और शाम होते होते मेरा आज भी चला गया. और यही होता है ज्यादातर. And then have a high opinion of yourself. This is also a tip to you. thinking low of yourself is not modesty, it is self-destruction. Hold your uniqueness in high regard because it is a necessary precondition for happiness and success. Think high of yourself. Yes, you are unique. You may not be perfect in many things, but then many things cannot be perfect without you. So stay special in your own little ways. You are unique. No one can match you. Think high. And then never become arrogant in life. Sometimes, a small success goes into a person's head and the person becomes arrogant. Don't let that happen. Because arrogance is the surest path to failure. And look at this quote. कभी किसी चीज का घमंड आ जाए तो शमशान का एक चक्कर लगा आना, तुमसे बेहतरीन लोग वहां राख बने पड़े. Yes, true. These are the realities of life. Please remember you are dust and to dust you shall go. So keep this reality of life always in mind. Then you will never become arrogant. Ups and downs keep on happening. Just take it like that. समय और भाग्य पर कभी अहंकार मत करो क्योंकि ये दोनों परिवर्तनशील हैं. पता ही नहीं चलता कब किस मोमेंट पे सब कुछ दुनिया बदल जाती है. So ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, I have told you so many things, so many challenges, even in personality and life lesson. At the end of the day, your biggest competition is with you. You have to be the master of your mind rather than the puppet of your mind. Be your own king. And you are a king if you know how to rule yourself. First, learn how to rule yourself before thinking of anybody else. And this can change your life. You don't have the problem, you are the problem. वो कहते हैं ना कि स्वर्ग भी तू है, नरक भी तू है, इन दोनों का फर्क भी तू, सब कुछ तुम्हारे में ही है. जिंदगी छोटी नहीं होती, लोग जीना ही देरी से शुरू करते हैं, जब तक रास्ते समझ में आते हैं तब तक लौटने का वक्त हो जाता है. So the message is it's never too late to be what you might have been. Whatsoever your age is, forget that. Start changing your life. It's never too late. Please remember that. Only thing is, all these things have never been told us. That is also very unfortunate. So challenges keep us fresh. There is a very famous quote, a ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. Similarly, humans are not designed to be happy in status quo. So continue to remain dissatisfied so that you can become better and better. Because challenges are what keep us fresh. So I've told you today so many challenges. Don't take every challenge as a problem, take every problem as a challenge. And the challenges are the doorways to excellence, opportunities in disguise. एक बहुत famous African proverb है, Chinese proverb है शायद. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls while others build windmills. It's up to you how you make use of the opportunities. Things end, people leave, time passes, memories fade, feelings change, and you know what? Life goes. Therefore, one day you will be just a memory for some people. Do your best to be a good one. That's the message to all of you. And this is my last slide. जिंदगी के रंगमंच पर अपना किरदार इतनी शिद्दत से निभाएं कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहें, क्योंकि जिंदगी नहीं मिलेगी दोबारा. So make the best use, and you are in a profession which is basically to help others, to guide others, to build the future of the country. So अपना किरदार बहुत शिद्दत से निभाएं. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. This is my email. This is my cell number. You can be always in touch. Give your feedback and all the best. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And so motivating that I think all of us are on the edge of the chair or seat wherever we are sitting.
No.
So it's a query time now. So I think a lot of exclamations and messages in the chat box. But I invite everybody, if the query or questions are there, you can put forward.
Any question, any comment, any suggestion?
Any
You can
clarity
write,
you
you
want?
can talk to me. Because you would also have your own experiences. To what
I
extent?
think everybody is engrossed in the presentation right now. We have forgotten our own experiences. Everybody is writing very inspiring lecture. Thank you so much.
But Professor Ranula, what I feel is, all these things we should also teach our young students from lower classes,
Yes, yes,
that their personality is also developed accordingly.
yes.
This is unfortunately is missing. That's why all these problems come in our society. We need to focus on that also.
One question is there.
If it's possible, we can unmute them and let them ask.
Please unmute yourself and ask yourself.
See, you're all teachers. You should ask. Why should somebody ask on your behalf?
You can raise your hands. Yeah. So, are you able to unmute yourself? Coordinating team, please, somebody, please unmute them so that they can ask the questions. One question from Rohit Kumar is there. Why have we failed to develop quality research in our country? Meanwhile,
the quality research, that is what I said in my talk also. We are not teaching our students to do research. We don't focus on developing creative minds in India. This is very, very unfortunate. We need to encourage out-of-box thinking. Because, for research, creativity is a must. Because any research problem, if you work on, it starts with a problem, research problem, and research problem comes out of your creativity. And creativity comes when your knowledge is very vast. You know the linking part, you are motivated, you have creative thinking skills. All these things help you in research. We are not training our students for that. And then our syllabi are outdated. I remember when I went to Germany and Japan, I was working with a Nobel laureate in Japan. See, I was a very bright student here, but when I went, I wanted to change the field. And there my professor said that, okay, if you want to come in this field, you will have to work, read all this, get familiarity with all these things, because what you have learned in your MSc and where the world is, there is a big gap. You have to fill that gap. And I remember for about 1.5 years, I just read and read and read before I could do state-of-the-art research. So there I realized the importance of having modern curriculum. We still teach the same things which we were teaching 20 years back or 30 years back. We have to change. That's my feeling. And then encouraging thinking, assessment should change, all that. Anyway, somebody else is there.
yeah, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. Mukesh L. Das. You have
Please
raised your
introduce
hand.
also yourself, Mukesh.
You can unmute yourself. They have done it.
Mukesh, please introduce and introduce also, please.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, sir. This is Mukesh, Dr. Mukesh from Kamala Nehru College. And sir, actually, I believe in this kind of contemporary style learning. So, now inspired by a book called Brain Rule, where, it says that the learning is supposed to be outside of the cubicles, outside of the four walls. So I took all my students outside because my topic is climate and environment. So I took all my students. I used to take all my students, and they used to enjoy learning from the environment. Now, if I'm trying to teach them flora and fauna of the campus, so I should take them out of the campus. Out of the classroom. So I was taking my students at least for the practical classes. And one day, my principal popped in, and they started, like, who the hell are you? From where you you're trying to change the legacy of our. Okay. So the whole system is rigged in a way that now, even if I have something like I want to take things out of the box, I cannot take because I'll be outcasted then. Are you getting me, sir?
No, I'm getting your point because you, in a way, wanted your students to be engaged in some activities. Because
Yes, I took
that
out of
will
the.
teach them something.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that is what the present system has to be, rather than merely delivering a lecture in the class. That will not work in modern scenario.
Yes. So principal came and then they called me in the office and gave me very nice rebuking that who the hell are you? Trying to change the legacy of our institutions from where you popped in here. I was like, holy God. Then, I curled myself back to the same, the old fashion. So that is the challenge we have.
Maybe in one of our talks here, we will talk about details about learner-centric education, how these can be implemented. We are not used to that. We have always been taught by the lecture-based learning, delivering a lecture on the board, etc. But those things do not work now. Things have changed. Everything has changed. So I think we need to change our mindset. That's my feeling. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, Mr. Kishore, you can unmute yourself and ask. You have raised your hand. Mr. Kishore, all of you can unmute yourself. It is allowed. So Dr. B. Balakrishnan, you can ask first.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir,
Good evening.
Good evening. My fundamental doubt is in the era of this mobile revolution. So most of the students are addicted to mobile. So how can we divert them towards these creative thinking or innovative thinking strategies, sir? Is there any?
Professor Bakshi, I would like to put this. May I please, sir, with your kind permission?
Please.
Those who have this kind of distraction, our purpose should not be to demean them or to insult them or to punish them. Rather, I ask the students that, okay, you place your phone next to you and put your spine straight, and close your eye and breathe in for like 1 or 2 minutes. That's the only things I ask them. And to be honest, their distractions are back and for the next 40 minutes, they'll not be into the mobile again without your consent.
So you mean to say that they used to keep on addicted to mobiles even in the classroom?
No, sir. After the classes, so at homes or in the hostels, when we are asked them to collect information from the different sources or any in the era of technology, they're diverting from the normal education sites to others. So like most of the social media and all. So in this context, how can we address those issues?
See, it is now normally said that you should resort to experiential learning by doing. If you do that, then that will take them away from their over-dependence on mobile. I don't know why they use mobile and they don't attend to your classes. I don't understand that. Why this is happening.
Sir, social media, because of influence of social media and all, for example, WhatsApp, Telegram,
that's for everybody. We all do that, mobile and social media and Facebook and all that. But why it should come in the distraction of their education? Either you should keep them engaged in various activities, or you should give them a lot of work so that they have hardly any time for that. You will have to do that because they find that more interesting than your lecture. That could be one reason. So I think it would be very difficult to generalize it as to how you can attack that problem, but you have to engage them in various activities. Even while using mobile, you can involve them in various activities. You can test their information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy. These are the 21st century skills. They can use mobile to come out with finding out various sources of information. You can engage them in that. You have to resort to a flipped classroom. We will talk about it later on. about how you through flipped classroom can engage them in various other activities. Just wait for 1 or 2 lectures. We will come to all these things slowly. Please.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You are from which place?
Andhra Pradesh, sir.
Andhra Pradesh. Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Because we have some lectures which will be there about technology, then technology-based teaching, learning, where all these things will come. Just wait for that. Today is just the beginning. We have
Yes,
all
sir.
those lectures which have been planned.
Okay,
Even
sir. Thank you.
artificial intelligence lectures, we will have how you can use them in teaching. And how even you can implement experiential learning for your lecture in the classroom. That also we will talk about. Just wait for some time. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, please. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
one more, Xiaomi, you have raised your hand.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. Please
This
introduce
side,
yourself.
yes, sir, I'm Ankita Gautam, assistant professor working at Allahabad Agriculture Institute, Allahabad. I need to know, sir, nowadays when we teach in the class, as we are the young teachers, there are many kind of distractions in the students. First mode is this question. And the second one thing is that the students are only, like you all were saying, that innovative ideas or thinking innovatively. This is very important, I know. But the students nowadays, they are only concentrated on the thing that if they have paid fees, they need marks. They just want to mug up with the syllabus. What is there, whatever we want to teach them extra in the class, they never used to put their ears, or they will not concentrate on that. This is the main means distraction type of thing we are feeling. I'm from the field of life science. My specialization is in microbiology, which is a very good subject with a good means it need the good knowledge in practical hand. But today the students are very weak in practical hands. If you are not good in practical hands, you cannot you cannot isolate the organism, you cannot analyze them, you cannot have any results after that. Okay, so they are least interested in the practical, rather they want to have only the theory things in the class. So sir, it is very difficult how to tackle these type of students, because nowadays students are with this same mindset. I think I have gone 2-3 places in different universities. I found the same problem over there itself.
Oh, no, I don't understand why this is happening, but one thing is very clear in my opinion, that they want to, you say they want to mug up the things and they want to score marks and all that. That is what they want.
They only concentrate that marks are important. They doesn't need to think innovatively. They doesn't think to go deep in the practical. They don't want to perform the practical in the
That is
practical
why I am
classes.
saying you will have to change your system of assessment, so that
Exactly.
they are not able to just depend on what they have mugged up. It should not be just merely reproducing what they have learned by rote. If you ask them, remembering like what is, I say, a kaun banega crorepati type question, where you just have to, there is no analytical thinking, no critical thinking, no creativity. Just if you are able to recall something, okay, that should not be the aim. That is why I said you need to change your system of assessment. Let them do anything, but if you have such a system of assessment, or you set such questions which require a lot of thinking, they will naturally flop. They will not be able to attempt if they are dependent on mugging up and rote learning. So that is where your role has to come. That is what I said, that assessment process needs to be made more scientific. We need to encourage those skills in our students. And those skills can be encouraged only when you change the way you examine them, the way you assess.
But sir, we as a teachers, we face the problem that if our institute or university have a particular type of assessment system with them, so we have to follow that itself, because the seniors never appreciate
That's
the
a
change in the
big
system.
problem, that
We
I
have
can.
given much of ideas to change the system of assessment, or we want to change the syllabus, or we want to have a interaction sessions. or we want to have the projects type of thing in the study material. But the seniors never appreciate this thing. I have faced the same thing when I have gone for the BOS meetings many times. I have suggested that this type of things in the meetings, but they do not follow them, or they don't concentrate that we should change, because I think means they themselves don't want to change, because they are accustomed with the old
I can
patterns.
understand your problem because, in our setup, we have teachers who are 60-year-old also, and we
Exactly,
have
sir.
who are
Exactly.
25 or 30 years. They represent different mindsets. Some of the senior teachers may show resistance to change. They will say that throughout our life, we have set such questions. Why should we now change? You will want a
Exactly, sir.
new system. That is a clash that I can understand. And here only university administration can take a important role play in that. Otherwise, things will not change. That is also one reason why, we are not able to change curriculum much. They will say, we have been teaching these papers like that for the last 30 years. Why should we change now? And sometimes teachers resist change in the syllabi, because if you add new topics, then they will have to learn on their own. Sometimes they don't like
Exactly,
it.
sir.
That is also one
Exactly.
reason. So there is a clash of, so much mindsets, interests. Everybody wants to be sometimes in a comfort zone. Why do I bother more? All those things I can understand from your point of view. But whatsoever is in your hand, whenever you do some class test or little bit exercises you give, there you can play there you are the leader. Everything is in your hand. Leave aside
Exactly, sir.
because you may not have the power to change the entire university examination system. But for your own class, whenever you do some formative assessment or some other assessment which you keep on doing, there you can give them such questions which encourage them thinking, etc. I think that's the only way, because this is the problem which everybody faces, in my opinion. But it's a good question which you raised. I can understand.
And one more means problem is there. So like microbiology is a very happening subject. Day by day, many more innovations are coming up. But the journals which are having the real innovations, the foreign journals, they are so expensive that the students cannot afford them. And even some of the universities do not provide, or they have the that journals with them in the library. But if they are expensive, they are not giving the students to read them, or they are giving for a very little period of time. So this is also a big problem, because what innovations are happening outside India, they are not getting the full knowledge of it. The students cannot read them, and buying everything online or purchasing for every student, it is very difficult. Even we are facing it to
But
have an idea, to give an idea.
I think you should see there are many electronic databases which are available.
Sir, even they are having fees for buying it. We can buy it and then we can read it.
Yes, yes. So you don't have that much support from your university, financial.
No, sir, many times we fail. We fail to get that availability for every student.
No, I can
So
understand.
that is also a big problem, because every researchers, the PhD student, at least they should provide that information to the PhD students, because they are the key researchers. They are researching for the 4 to 5 years. So they need each and every new modern technologies, or new modern ideas, or new modern innovation going on in the world. But they are not available in every university, I think. As I am
Those are the problems I know that everywhere.
these are the base problems which the students and the teachers both are facing, because they didn't get the much of support from the government institutes, or they are either the state universities, they are not providing that. Libraries are not very well developed. If they are having the e-resources, they are not providing the students to to take the advantage of
You
that.
are in Allahabad, you said?
Yes, I'm from Allahabad Agriculture University.
Okay, I was Vice Chancellor there in Allahabad, UP Rajrishi Tandon Open University.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I was Vice Chancellor there. But anyway, I can understand some of the problems which you are mentioning as compared to Delhi or IITs. These are the problems. But I think we need to address. That is why we are in such a state, that because money you required, funding you need.
Funding
You
we
need to have
need.
large budget for education, which is very
Exactly,
limited.
sir. Even the universities are not providing any of the funds to the students, PhD students, or the guide to have a good papers on them. Because every journals which are publishing the microbiology of life sciences papers, they are really very expensive. They are costing very expensive. Or either if you don't go for the expensive one, you have to wait for at least 6 months, 9 months, 1 year to get one paper published. So that is a main problem we are facing here, sir.
No, I can understand. Anyway, nice talking to you. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuja. Then
Yes.
we'll close it.
Okay, so because sir will be taking, I think, some more sessions also. So
we will meet
questions
on
can
many
be
more
there.
occasions. There will
Later
be
also,
not only-
the
just the
question can be
beginning,
taken.
we will have more topics.
So
those
if
things.
no more questions, so then we can proceed towards conclusion. And towards conclusion, it's my great honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks and on behalf of our organizing team and participants for today's insightful and highly motivating session on higher education and society, delivered by our esteemed speaker, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir. Sir, your expertise and depth of knowledge on the subject truly enlighten us, and especially your thoughts in the context of NEP 2020's aims to bring transformative changes in the education sector and society at large were particularly enlightening. So we are very grateful for the time and effort you have taken to prepare the presentation for this session. And there have been many remarks, especially for the presentation, many appreciation was there in the chat box. So the participants are highly thankful for this interesting and inspiring session. And your session and insights have really broadened our perspectives. And it's full of thought-provoking illustrations and video clippings, etc. So I think your motivational words and this insightful presentation have truly set the tone for the entire program. And I hope the participants also will be highly inspired. And I'm sure that whole program is going to be the game changer in their career also. So I'm thankful to the participants also for their active involvement and engaging questions, which added great value to the discussion. So once again, thank you, Professor Bakshi sir, for your invaluable contribution. And we look forward to more opportunities to learn from your vast experience and expertise in other forthcoming sessions in this very NEP programs. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We conclude the session. And you can all enjoy the evening now and your meals, and be prepared for the next forthcoming sessions. Equally good, and it will be getting more exciting and engaging, I hope, and valuable for everyone.
Thank you, Anuja. Thank you very much for the kind words. And
so thank you all. Here we conclude.
Thank you.